Just as we're getting started, want to let everyone know that this is the Engineering Foundations information session. Thank you for joining. If you feel comfortable, you're welcome to put in the chat where you are joining from. As this is virtual, you can bring in some food, a drink, make yourself comfortable, as we'll be here for the next hour before we get started. And I hope you're having a good evening wherever you're joining from. So welcome. This session will start in 2 minutes. Just getting started here for our Engineering Foundation Certificate information session. While we're having more people join, I want to share here a short clip video that is coming from our 50th anniversary. Yes, North Island College is celebrating 50 years this year. This is a clip that was done just looking out from here in Comox Valley out to the ocean and the mainland, looking over towards Powell River. And so we'll just watch this clip for a bit before we get going into our information session on engineering.
Wave. We are always in motion. We ripple. We roar. Change and seasons turn. We shift, adapt, and grow. By where we've been. And we're ready for what's next. Together, we're a force with boundless potential. On the horizon, a sea possibility. The next wave, take us.
Right, thank you. That was our 50th anniversary video that we're showcasing. Welcome to everyone that's been joining here. If you do have questions, put them into the chat, but we do ask that you listen thoroughly through to our presentation, as we may answer a lot of the questions that you may have throughout our presentation, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So first, throughout this presentation, we're going to be discussing about 7 of these points, starting first with the welcome, and then I'll be talking about the experience at North Island College with our supports and services. Then we've got our faculty members here talking about why to study engineering, give you some valuable information on that, and then especially about our program details here at North Island College for our program. Then we go into the admission process and what you need to get into the program, and then we'll conclude and we can go more into specific questions and answers. Okay, moving forward, we want to acknowledge that North Island College is honored to work on the traditional territories of 35 First Nations here in the center and northern parts of Vancouver Island. We're working closely, especially from the West Coast and Chalmouth First Nations, the Kwakwaka'wakw Nations, Coast Salish Nations. I'm very honored to work closely with them on their traditional territories that the campus is situated on. And we hope all of you are well from wherever you're joining. You're welcome to put into the chat where you happen to be joining from today. We hope you feel comfortable throughout this virtual information session. I'm going to introduce the speakers. So for myself, my name is Sarah Byrne. I work in the office here for the Future Students and Marketing Office. My role is a recruiter, so I'm here to talk. I go in to do presentations inside of high schools, community events, and talk about our programs that we have here and support through the application process. I'm with a team, so if there's any issues that anyone has before they become a current student, my team here in the Future Students Office is here to support you. I am based on the Comox Valley campus, and I also do campus tours. Then I'm going to pass it over to Alex to introduce herself.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, hi, I'm Alex Blair, and I'm currently the department chair for the Math Science department at NIC. I also teach in a Math Science area, so I teach right now our first year physics for engineering students, and I also teach our Intro to Stats course. I've been at the college now for almost 8 years, I want to say. I'm originally from Germany. I went to university there. I've done my master in physics there, and then I moved here. It's very beautiful, and I like to ride my bikes and all those things. And so that's how I ended up here, and then decided to teach at a college. And I'm mainly in the Comox Valley campus.
Thank you, Alex. I'm going to move over to Dennis.
Hi, my name is Dennis Lightfoot, and I've been teaching at the college for 25 years now. I've been teaching math and physics and engineering in that time, and about 15 years ago we developed the curriculum for the engineering transfer program, which then evolved into our Engineering Foundation certificate. That's about it.
Thank you. So now I'm going to move forward to talk about the experience at North Island College. Glad to hear some people already, Bruce has shared that you are also from the Comox Valley, so you're familiar here. And then we've got someone else here from Courtney. If any of you are also comfortable to put where you're from in the chat, and then we'll welcome you to the area. Here's a map of Vancouver Island. Just showing a little bit more about where our campuses are situated. I mentioned that we work closely with about 35 First Nations. We have listed the names of the nations around on the side here that we're happy to work closely with for our supports and programming. We have a campus out in Port Alberni, and then our main campus is on the Comox Valley. We're just up Ryan Road, and that is the campus where we have our brand new student housing. It is also the main campus of this program for engineering that is offered here. The Comox Valley stands for Courtney, Cumberland, and Comox, together making the valley in a beautiful area here near to the mountains and to the ocean. And then with Ryan Road just going quickly up, lots of services nearby that I'll talk about. We've got Costco, we've got a superstore, we've got a hospital right next door, we've got a rec center. I see we've got some people calling in from Campbell River. So yes, we're not far from Campbell River, and Campbell River is where our other campus is. So if you are located in another area, maybe a different area from Port Alberni to Campbell River, we have our campus, we have our front desk there, we have our advising there, so you can get some supports from wherever is closest to you. But as mentioned, the main program courses will be out of the Comox Valley campus here. And then up to Campbell River, we have some unique programs up to there. Do recommend to check out our campuses. I think also what's really special and saves a lot of money is that we have free parking. So that's something you're not going to find at many other universities and colleges. If you go to other cities, that's an expense of thinking about, and also a stress of where to park and then have to worry about your time and everything. So we make things a lot easier, stress-free, that showing up on the campus, we have available parking to attend there, or there is accessibility to come in through with bus transportation or coming in with bike lockers and carpooling. So there's lots of options from there as well. Up in the north, you'll see our Mila Quila campus in Port Alberni. So if you needed to upgrade to get into the engineering program, maybe there's some courses, high school level courses you needed to take, there's some options to do that through either one of these campuses, or it might be online as well. Just wanted to show the beauty, as Alex mentioned, her interest to come to the valley here from Germany. It's very unique, the specialty that we have here in the Comox Valley, the ability to go from the top of the mountain all the way to the ocean, from snow to surf. So recreationally, there's a lot of things to do here and enjoy. It's always good to think about some of those opportunities of where the advantages of the valley to live in while you're doing your studies and your program you're focusing on as well. Another advantage of coming to North Island College that we have here is, I mentioned about accessibility and affordability. So when we talk about affordability, you'll see that our program fees are less, trying to make it more accessible and supportive for students coming to here. And then we have a lot of scholarships that students can apply for and help them for their studies. We have a number of alumni who have taken our programs, graduated, and have experiences helping them for jobs, and really credit their experiences at North Island College. And we've heard that it has really helped them along the way for further studies and their careers. For accessibility and also our community support, we have, being a smaller campus, a smaller ratio, around 18 students to one instructor. So that really helps with the learning. And you'll see that when it comes to any of our other supports on campus, just a lot of help there for further learning. Here I'll talk about our Indigenous supports. So if you are an Indigenous student, we have navigators who are there to support with the process, and we have gathering spaces on each one of our campuses. We're really excited on the Comox Valley. We do have an Indigenous lounge on campus, but also in our brand new student housing has a new gathering space inside of there to do more events and ceremonies. There are guest speakers that come in often to talk, different workshops, and we have elders on each one of our campuses as well. So this is an image up in Campbell River, and we're really excited showing more from what student housing has for their space to use. Other supports that you can have as services to help you when you are a North Island College student is our counseling. We have lots of services online and in person to book for if anything stressful is going on. That's also connecting through our early assist program, just knowing that we look out for all students, checking that their wellness, that they're doing well, as we're a place of caring. So we really want to make sure you're doing the best and succeeding. We have a Department of Accessible Learning Services. So if you have any accommodation needs, and maybe you have a diagnosed mental or physical condition, then you can talk to this department. There are learning specialists here, so it's best to always make an appointment early. So maybe you're applying to this program here for engineering. You can go in and talk to a learning specialist. They can see and have a discussion for any unique plan. Maybe you would like to have accommodations for any technology for the program, or any of the classes to be more successful in them. Maybe it would help to have a quiet space or extended time for doing your test. Often we found, because we do have smaller class sizes, students maybe who are more anxious in bigger cities and spaces have found a lot of success. And a lot of our students who do come through our Department of Accessible Learning Services have found a lot of supports to help them succeed with their studies and then on to their completion of their program and career. If you are then wanting to plan out your courses, you're looking to take this program and then transfer on to finish up your degree, it's recommended to talk to our education advisors. The appointments with them are booked after you have a student, you've applied to the program, and you can do that either in person on one of our campuses, main campus, Comox Valley, or if it's closer, I know some of you are in Campbell River, that's possible as well, and then also online. So once you become a student, you can book that yourself on your My NIC account. And then it's always, I think the biggest tip, and it's great for you all to listen to here, is to book appointments early with them when you're planning your program, just to make sure you're planning your courses and your end goal for what you want to do. Financial aid advisors are there to help when it comes to student loans, scholarships. I know that maybe they're also open if there are parents or supporters that have questions about helping to fund education. You can make an appointment together, because I've seen that they can welcome them as well. Just knowing that if there's any stress when it comes to finances, it's good to have a conversation with and book it with the financial aid advisor. I spoke about early assists connected to counseling. If there's any stresses going on, we look out for our students. And then this office in Work Integrated Learning and Career Services, they help with resumes. They have a database of employers that are looking for students for internships and co-ops and summer jobs. Maybe you are also wanting to do part-time work while you are a student, as we do hire for many students on our North Island College campus with supports and good rate of pay. So you can make an appointment with them, and then they'll help you out for interviews and anything else for your finances. We have a campus store on each one of our campuses. You can get some swag, hoodies. You can brand yourself as an engineering student when you're in the program, and you can get your books and supplies from there. So you can think in advance, but once you become a student, your faculty will let you know what books you need. And in that point in time, then you can go to the store and get them, or discuss with your faculty if you need to get anything used or digitally. We have a library on each one of our campuses. Our library in the Comox Valley is a beautiful place. It also is a place where you can book rooms. It's got a tutor there for math as well as for writing and tech support. When you need anything, we can loan out laptops. They've got a lot of free resources, free office supplies. So there's a lot of services that the library can offer. Next, I'm just speaking about the student union. So in our student union, that's where it has medical coverage. So if you didn't have extended health benefits, you can get that through the student union. If you are under coverage, you can also opt out and then get your money back. But they do a lot. They also serve the food in the cafeteria on the Comox Valley campus, as well as they have planners that you can get for free. You can get some information on any of the events that they have throughout the year. And sometimes they give some free fruit out and some food. Student life and student services. So the student life will be doing events throughout the year. So that's lots of things to get involved in. You can also maybe have a passion and interest for a certain area. You can create your own club. We do have a few clubs, but always great if students make their own club, and there's some funding and supports through the student union and student life team. And then the student services, you will see the front desk, and then they'll be able to book appointments and help for payments and registration if you need that as well. Okay, I'm really excited. If you have not come onto our Comox Valley campus, I do recommend you do. I can give you a tour. And then this is an image of our student housing. Student housing tours are operated specifically through the student housing because this space is being used as a residence of where people are living. It is a private area, so there is restrictions on letting anyone come into there, but there are specific tours that can be done to view inside of the housing. So we're very pleased to have this. This opened in September of this year, and the students who have already moved into here are very happy that they have new, renovated, fresh places. So up on the top images here, you can see some images of the bedrooms inside of here, and then the outside. And then note that this is here in kind of like 3 buildings with a circular space inside of the middle. In the architecture of this has been done working closely with our Comox First Nations. When we did the opening ceremony, the Comox First Nations helped and also gifted a name. So the official name of this building is Tuleoch, which is a place of living and learning. Each one of the buildings, of the 3 buildings, has its own gifted name, as well as each of the 4 levels in here too. Here we have a place of eating, a place of gathering. So this is open here right now. If you live locally, maybe you don't need a place to live, but if you're out of town or maybe you don't have a place, this could be an option for you. You can do this program full-time, or if you need be, maybe you, for finances or for other reasons, you need to do it part-time. You're still welcome to be in student housing if you're full-time or part-time. If you have any questions or you have interest in housing, I would say to email our student housing team, with the email address being here, and then to look up all the details on our website, as there's some more images and layouts and information on the website to take a look at. I know some places they're more full up and only reserved for first year. Here we are welcome. We have different levels of housing. So these are the prices here at the Nano, being the smallest room, but it actually has a queen bed that comes out. So it's actually a bit bigger of a bed. The studio being a bigger private space at this price. And then the quad is for private. You have your own private bedroom with a closed door, and you just share 2 washrooms and then a living space and a kitchen area with 4 people together. And then a family room is a 2-bedroom. As if people are doing the program, maybe they're here and they have children, we do have a daycare on site, and there is a playground just below for anyone that needed to come with another family member for this room. So I just wanted to also show what's included in those prices. And the prices, I know, may seem quite a lot, but if you compare them to some other universities and other colleges, you will actually find that we're a bit less or on par with the same rates from here. And there's a lot included in the here. So when thinking about where to live, it's also thinking about somewhere safe and somewhere convenient. So I know our students here, you can just walk out and you're right on our campus. You're right next to the pool and recreational center where you can get a discount to use that. You have the free parking. We have spiritual places here in the building to use. There's lots of bike storage. I know we've got an outdoor adventure guiding program, and students there brought a lot of their equipment if they're doing anything. There is an outside garden, community garden students are working on. There is a place for laundry on site that is coin operated to use. And then with the fee, it is including all utilities, electricity, Wi-Fi, and as well as furniture. So it comes fully furnished. If you do have some furniture, you can bring it in if you want to, and some kitchenware, but it makes it easy to just move in and then move out when you're done as well. So that's everything there. I don't know if anyone has any questions about housing. You're welcome to put it into the chat and I can help answer. Otherwise, questions for housing can go to our student housing. I'm going into here to talk about funding supports. So when I mentioned about financial aid and financial aid advisors, they are really helpful. So just emphasizing that whatever stressful is going on and about finances, how to pay, anything about that, it's always good to, instead of holding those questions in, to reach out to our professionals because they'll help to find a solution for you. There is details that they can provide when it comes to any specific grants, any loans here and the process for that. And then specific, I just am sharing here about our NIC Foundation. So if you know anyone who is looking to think about their taxes and donating to an organization, this here, the NIC Foundation, is hoping to receive donations, and then those come in the form of scholarships for students. So if you are looking for scholarships, and I highly recommend to apply for scholarships, we make it super easy by just having one application that is then reviewed within this time period between March and April. So if you're applying for the program, now is a good time. And then when March opens up, then you can have an application for awards. And then just with an application can be a simple way to gain some money to help you finance for your program. There can be many different awards based not just on your academic marks. It could be where you live, your community organizations, different supports of volunteering you've done. So it's always good. A tip for this is just to be honest, not using AI, just writing everything personal about yourself into that application form. And the advisors will be looking to give out as many awards as they can from those in need and those deserving from this awards. Lastly, sharing that if you are a youth in care or a former youth in care, do let us know in advance. There is a lot of money to help for your studies at the college and supports here from our financial aid advisors. So I'm going to move on and pass it to Alex to talk about why to take engineering.
I think I'm actually taking this one, Sarah.
Sorry, Dennis. Yeah.
So this is some data from a survey that Engineering Canada did a few years ago. And it's the top reasons why students decide to become professional engineers. The number one reason is to improve lives. I think this is the most important right now as we kind of enter this era of climate change. And there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and a lot of things that need to be changed. And engineering is going to be at the forefront of all of that innovation and change. So next slide. There we are. The second reason is the opportunity to innovate. So that's related to the first one. So the students that want to go in there, they want to be on that cutting edge. They want to use their creativity to solve problems for society and the future. And slide. And the third reason is they want to help protect the public and its interests. So by becoming engineers, people demonstrate that they have the broader interests of society in mind, including safeguarding life, health, property, economic interests, public welfare, and the environment. For these reasons, engineers are respected by the public and are seen in the same light as licensed professionals in other fields, such as medicine and law. I'm just going to stop on this point right now because this survey was done by Engineers Canada, who oversees all of the provincial and territorial engineering license groups. So in BC, we have Engineering and Geoscience BC that governs the profession of engineering. And EGBC, like all of the other ones, have a code of ethics. And the first tenet in all of the codes of ethics is basically that we will take the public interest, environment, safety as paramount in all of the decisions that we make. So that's part of being an engineer, is to make that commitment. Okay, next slide. Improved career options. So it is true that with an engineering degree, you can become an engineer, but employers also recognize the skill set that engineers have are going to be useful in other contexts for management, problem solving, and also if you are a professional engineer, that you have that higher level of ethics that you're held to. Okay, next slide. Elevated degree of trust. So people who hold a license to practice engineering are seen by employers, peers, and the public as having clearly demonstrated their competence and commitment to developing their skills and knowledge within their field. Only engineers can sign and seal engineering drawings or serve as fully qualified expert witnesses in cases involving engineering. In other words, if you are not a licensed professional engineer, then you cannot pretend to be one. The last reason I think is coming up. I think there were 6. Yep. Higher earning potential. So this is the least likely of the top 6, but engineers are usually paid fairly well. They are one of the highest paying and in-demand professions and is generally correlates to higher earnings throughout all career stages. Organizations also recognize that employing engineers brings significant benefits in terms of customer trust and bottom lines. In talking about a higher earning potential, I just want to make a mention here on co-op. So most of our engineering students transfer to UVic, and University of Victoria has a mandatory co-op program, which means all of the students who go through engineering in UVic have to complete at least 3 work terms. These are not volunteer internships. These are paid work terms, and most of the students that I've talked to are able to basically pay for their school and housing from their work terms once they get started into their first work term. If you take your first year at NIC and go down to UVic, your second term at UVic is when you're first eligible for doing a co-op work term. So from there on, you're basically 4 months school, 4 months work for the rest of the time that you're there, which means you could graduate without any student debt. And if you get scholarships on top of that, then you can actually make a profit. Okay, next slide. All right, so before I pass it off to Alex, we have some slides here. These are all from last year's Introduction to Engineering course. During that course, the students do client-based projects. So they go out and they do fairly simple designs, but they have to go through the whole process of needs assessment and communicating with the clients. And last year we did all of our projects on Denman Island, and we can see the one on the left there is some it's called tabletop strawberry production. So the strawberries are grown in elevated troughs, which gets them up away from pests and makes them easier to pick. And there's a fair bit of automation on there. They were having some issues though with uniformity in their irrigation and also with the stability of their supports. They found in heavy snow that some of their troughs would tip over. So our students were helping them with those issues. The top right picture is, you can see what looks like cages. So our students were helping to refine the design for what's called a turkey tractor. So it's a portable cage for housing turkeys while they're out on pasture. So the cages are necessary when the turkeys are little because they're susceptible to predation from things like raccoons. But the cages have to be moved every day. So they have to be light, but still secure enough against predators. So we had one group of students was working on that. And then the bottom right picture is on the beach on Denman Island. And this was a shellfish producer who was having problems. They have to put, or they don't have to, but many of them do put nets on the beach to keep ducks and geese from coming and taking the small immature clams that they've basically seeded out to the beach. But those nets get fouled with seaweed and other stuff. So cleaning the nets is very labor intensive and expensive. So they were looking for a new system for cleaning the nets. So those were 3 of the 6 projects that we worked on last year. This year we're working with Denman Island again, and they're doing projects that are all related to small scale farming of grain and pulse crops, which is also, I think it's interesting. My background is as an agricultural engineer, so I tend to give them agricultural projects, but they're also projects that they have the technical background for in their first year. We can't have them designing electric cars or things like that because they haven't got the skill set yet. Okay, I'm going to pass it on now to Alex, who will talk a little bit about the program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. Yeah, so now that Dennis talked more about why it is so fun about engineering, let's talk more about the program details. So how does the first year look like? We can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so here first, it says common first year curriculum. You probably are like, what does that even mean? So within BC, we have a very well-established transfer system that most students go from one institution to the other, and you can transfer your courses around, meaning you can do 1 year with us and then you can transfer to another institution to finish your degree. So a few years ago, most of the BC institutions were like, okay, we should make sure we all teach our engineering students the same thing in first year. So they developed this common first year curriculum, and most institutions, I believe, are on it, and if not all, and they're all teaching the same thing. So then everybody has the same thing after the first year and can decide where they want to go into that second year. So that first year common curriculum includes 12 courses, a total of 36 credits. There's 2 courses in engineering, which then you do cool projects with Dennis, 3 courses in math, 3 courses in physics, 2 English courses. We all need English courses, 1 or 2 computer programming courses, depending which direction you want to go, and then a course in chemistry. And then after that year, you have the option to transfer to any second year. UVic is our main receiving institution, but UBC, either Vancouver or Okanagan, TU, UNBC, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So all of them, not a problem to transfer to straight into your second year. If we go into the next slide, I have the same thing, just made it a lot cooler. So if you do your NIC Foundations Engineering Certificate, it shows you it's all the same common first year engineering curriculum. So we all do the same, and then you have your free pick of where you want to go into that second year. You can even do it in 1 year full time, which can be a lot, or you could spread it out over 2 years. We offer a couple of second year courses. So for example, our second year calculus we offer. So you can take a couple of those second year courses, and then when you transfer into your second year at UVic, you have a lighter course load, so it's not quite as busy when you're already settling in a new place and everything. So there are a couple options there. If we dive into the next slide, we will see a little bit more what does it mean when I say 3 courses in math, right? So for example, our 3 math courses is calculus. We always need calculus. So there's 2 calculus courses, and then there's the matrix algebra course that you would take. For physics courses, they cover mechanics, geometric and wave optics, electricity and magnetism, and modern physics. Computer science, depending if you would take 1 or 2 courses, we learn some programming in C++ and about data structures. Then we have 1 engineering chemistry course, and again, there are 2 engineering courses, and 1 is more on design and professionalism. And then we obviously have English courses, college composition, and communication. So that's more details on the courses you will take. And then in my next slide, I have a bit of let's call it a sample schedule, even though it doesn't necessarily have times. But this is the courses you would take if you would want to take it in 1 year. So it looks pretty busy. 6 courses in each semester. Or ENR 100, ENR 101, that's our engineering course. So that's kind of, let's call it a fun course out of the engineering certificate. ENG 115 and ENG 160, that's our 2 English courses. CPS is our computer science, the programming course. M152, that's the engineering for chemistry. And then we have the math 133 would be the matrix algebra. And now math 181 and 82, that's our 2 calculus. They come kind of as a pair, 1 semester and the next. And then physics, the 120, 121. And then physics 170 is also like a engineering specific mechanics and statics course. That's what it's called. But if you think, wow, this seems like a lot, I don't know, I have some sports I want to do next to it, or I have some jobs I want to focus on as well, or I have a family, whatever it is, and you want to go into more of a stretch that year out into 2 years, you can go to the next slide. And so, for example, you could stretch it out over 4 courses, 2 years. So you only take 4 courses in each semester, and then there's certain courses you want to kind of take first over others. You want to take that calculus first because you need it for the physics. And Sarah will talk about admission requirements again in a little bit. But if you don't have all the prerequisites for every single course within the program, you can still join the program, and then you can do some of your upgrading courses within being of the program. So you could already take that fun engineering course and do your chemistry upgrading while you already take the physics and the math. So there is some options. And then in the second year, go to the next slide. Now we have these other math courses, other physics courses. We now have a new course that you haven't seen before, our math 210 and 214. That's our second year, 3rd and 4th calculus course. And then you could add a couple electives. So you still would only transfer into second year at UVic, but you would make that second year significantly easier on you and make that transition to a new city and new environment easier and set yourself up for more success. Yes. Okay. How can you get started? I assume. Maybe some of you guys are currently high school students. Then you have options to take dual credit courses. And I think Sarah will talk a tiny bit more about this, but just in case you aren't aware of what that is, haven't heard about it, You can take university level courses while in high school, and you can earn both high school credit and university transfer credit for it. You do need to make sure you plan your grade 12 year accordingly so that you would have those prerequisites that you do in your first school semester, so then in the winter semester you can take some of our math courses, for example. For example, Math 133, Matrix Algebra is a very convenient one and offers well for being taken by dual credit students. There's also English courses you can take. Realistically, any course that we offer that can fit within your high school schedule, you can take as a dual credit student. It doesn't have to be a specific course that is called a dual credit course. Any course that you can make timing wise, you can talk to your school counselors and you can apply and register for them as dual credit students. And I have one more slide, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in to add a little bit more for dual credit. So as I mentioned, for my role working in the Future Students Office, I do go into high schools. So dual credit is especially working closely with the high schools into the area closer to where we are. So either from Campbell River up north, any of the school districts up there, from Comox Valley to also to Port Byrne, West Coast, and even into Parksville Qualicum School District. We are here to support, and maybe some students up to Powell River. For the dual credit, the best thing is to talk to your high school counselor, and then these courses can be planned for just taking into advance for, like it says into here, your grade 12 year. So just, it's a great advantage because then it can save you money and then also time if you're able to get some of those courses done in advance to shorten the load and speed the process up of the program. So it's a great opportunity.
Yes, thanks, Sarah. And then, yes, okay, UVic Dual Admission, exactly. So if you do plan or thinking of going to UVic, you can apply to both schools with one application. You can get accepted, you defer that UVic acceptance, do your first year with us, and then you move to UVic. And the benefits from that is UVic treats you like you started there the first year. So your guarantee spot for housing will be transferred to your second year, which usually only first year students get housing spots, but because you applied for that first year, you still get it. Same with scholarships. That first year you can qualify for scholarships both from NIC and for UVic because you're first year students. So you're technically a first year student at both university or both institutions, even though you take that first year with us. So there really is only benefits to doing it. And I don't know if Sarah has anything else to add to that one.
Yeah, I'll just add to this that applying, I'll talk about the application process soon. So it's applying directly to our program and then finishing off with our certificate program. But this is a huge advantage because we do partner closely with UVic. It's just important that this is only eligible to those students who are in grade 12. So if you are finished grade 12, you cannot apply for this specific pathway. You're still eligible to have our program and have the guaranteed, as Alex explained, courses transfer over to UVic. This is just a specific application process that is done through a PDF form. It has to be done that way because we are then, with the dual admission, you are accepted to both NIC and UVic in first year, eligible for their first year scholarships, their first year housing, and then with the one application accepted to both places means that once you're done, we send your details over to them, so you don't need to apply twice. So that's just where it has a lot of advantages for it, but it's just eligible in grade 12 and it has a specific deadline. It has to be applied for before the end of January. So if you have questions about this, let me know. You can email it to here and I'll be able to support you further with any of that application.
Thanks, Sarah. Dennis, I'll let you speak on that one.
Yeah, so this is a statement from one of our alumni, Nolan DeWitt. Nolan did our program, it was over 10 years ago, and Nolan was one of the students who took 2 years to complete the certificate. He was playing a lot of soccer at the time, like high-level soccer, so he didn't want to give that up to do the 12 courses in 1 year, which is a lot. And then he transferred to UVic and was actually in the first graduating class of civil engineering from UVic. So Nolan's comments here, something that I like about my job in particular is working with small communities where you can make a meaningful change, like improving a water system or providing a new recreation building to a place that doesn't have it. those things can make a big difference. With NIC's smaller classes, you can build a relationship with your professors, who were some of the first engineers I had met. They helped me understand what it takes to be an engineer. Nolan actually came and spoke to my class last year as a guest speaker, and he was a fabulous ambassador for our alumni, but also for the profession. Nolan works in civil engineering in a lot of small communities on the island. He's based in Comox, but he works in other communities. He works with a lot of Indigenous groups. So like working on things like water and recreation facilities for places that don't have it. He's done some projects in the Comox Valley around bike lanes and things like that. It was just great to have one of our students that speaks so highly of our program, but also of the profession, and is himself a fantastic member of the engineering community.
Thank you for sharing that, Dennis. I think one thing I'm just going to also pull out of here is how he shared about the smaller class sizes. And this is something where just in a relativity, I was speaking to people from SFU, UBC, so I think they were saying around almost 300 in the first year classes. It can reach up to there, and how it's very a huge transition from high school to go to a teacher knowing your name to being just a number in a giant auditorium. So the transition over to North Island College and our supports with the smaller class sizes being around an average of 18 with faculty that know your name, who, like Dennis, is being able to recall who Nolan is, be a reference and support for a future and career, is just going to give you more of an advantage, actually, than just jumping into a bigger university right off the bat to help for success. I don't know if Alex and Dennis want to add anything more to the smaller class sizes before we move on, but just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. The lab spaces are actually capped at 16, so it's even better. So in most of the courses that have labs attached to them, it would be even smaller. I just wanted to add or comment on a couple things. There was a couple or a question about Campbell River in the chat, and obviously I saw a couple of you guys are joining from Campbell River. So we don't offer all the courses in Campbell River, but we offer a good chunk of the courses. Usually we have been offering the physics and the calculus in Campbell River, and then usually there's a Campbell River or online option for the English. So there is some courses you can take in Campbell River. So we generally try to have them scheduled that, let's say, the Campbell River classes are on a Monday, Wednesday, and then the Comox Valley classes are only on a Tuesday, Thursday. So you can compensate and don't have to travel all day. And I also wanted to mention that we also have one of our previous current students joined us today as well, and some questions for current students to ask. Yeah, I feel like I'm here.
Thank you for sharing, Alex. I know Dennis has answered some other questions into here. I just see one other question about UVic and robotics. I know we're not able to speak about other institutions' programs, but Alex or Dennis, if you wanted to answer anything about interest in robotics.
I'm not 100% sure, but I would assume that. Do you know?
We're both echoey. There would be robotics at UVic as part of the mechanical engineering, and also the electrical and computer engineering. Kind of the boundary between all of those. They do quite a bit of robotics.
Thank you. I'm going to go into the next slide that talks about the admission process. So next steps, unless any of you have already applied, I do recommend to apply sooner than later. That way, when you submit your application, the admissions team can review all your details. Even if you're in high school and you haven't finished those courses yet, maybe you're not taking it until next term, it's okay, and you can still apply and then just let them know when you're planning to complete the courses. Or if, like Alex mentioned, into the programming support, if you still haven't finished some of the courses, you can apply and work on them at the same time. I'm just seeing a question in the chat about, does NIC support course selection for secondary school students to help prepare them for applying? So when you need to take courses in your high school, you should be talking to your high school counselor about making sure of the schedule of your classes there. So my role here before you've applied, and if you're planning to do dual credit, so in that circumstance, if you're in secondary school, and you want to take our courses, we will help for the courses at NIC. So it's just talking to the people of where you're planning to take it. So if the course is with us, we'll help with the scheduling and the support there. If you're secondary school, the best is to talk to the teachers at your secondary school and the counselors at your secondary school just for making your plans and your schedule according to there. So rate of acceptance. So moving into here, you will see that our requirements will be less than other places. I was hearing from some other universities that are looking at a very high average to get into engineering. So this is where we mention our strengths at NIC being a place of affordability and accessibility for support. So you just need to have a C+ in pre-calculus of grade 12, or if that wasn't done in high school, the version you can do at NIC is our Math 060 if you're needing to upgrade. So just need to achieve that. And if it's not that, what this means is successful math assessment. It means you apply the admissions reviews. If maybe you got a C instead of a C+ in pre-calculus, then they might refer you to get testing done that might be on our campus or done remotely. It's an authorized testing center to evaluate your math ability, or refer you to take our course for upgrading of your math level. Next, moving on is the requirement of English. We require English at a grade 12 level through an assessment of C+. So anything higher than that is better. This is just the minimum we require. So rate of acceptance. So as Dennis has mentioned, as long as you have these two courses for this program of engineering, it is a process of admission on first applying early. So they will look at applications on those first applied system. So in that order of who applies earlier. And then number 2, meeting the requirements. So these are the requirements that they're looking for. And then after you've proven that you have those requirements, then it will go into inviting you to the program with an offer and then the next steps coming from admissions. So there are questions here. Is it not required to have a full dogwood? So it is recommended to have high school graduation is recommended, but it's not necessarily put down here as a requirement. What the requirements are is the math requirement and the English 12. And then I'm just going into the next note here that physics 12 and chemistry 12 are prerequisites for some courses. I know that Alex had mentioned about how there are physics courses within this first year of our college, which is accredited the same courses as what you would take at any other engineering level of university. So those have requirements to meet the high school level of physics to get into them, and then the high school level of chemistry to get into them. Okay, so as mentioned here, that first it's most important to have the math and English. If you don't have the chemistry or 12, it is possible to talk to our academic advisors after planning, and then they can work with a schedule where maybe you can take those courses that we offer here in Math 060. We offer a physics course. We offer a chemistry course. You can take those while working on other courses that you would meet the requirements for during your time with us in the first year, and then can expand it onto 2 years to lighten the load if you have a part-time job or other commitments or want to not take the programs fully. So just to conclude the next steps, so I would recommend to take a review onto our website. The website here is nic.bc.ca/programs. We have a revised website that came through this summer, so it's easier to navigate into our program pages and find details from there. You can scroll through to kind of see what the cost is for the program. It's all detailed onto the website. From here, you can follow us if you are not yet, maybe you're younger, maybe you're not sure of this program. Follow us on social media, sign up for our updates. That's how people got notified about other information sessions or applications or scholarships. We post them through there. Come visit our campus. So I do campus tours. We also have our NIC festival that we will open up and show some information about all the buildings and information there. And then the steps to apply our application fee being affordable, just $25. Applications are open now for the fall of 2026. So if you're thinking to join the program then, would recommend to apply now. If you want to join in fall of 2027, you wait till October 1st and then the applications will open then. So emphasizing our acceptance is on that first applied. So emphasis to apply early, then you can be eligible for the scholarships. As I mentioned, in the spring, our scholarship application opens up to then for those who had already submitted an application. And then if you need housing, then you've got your application in, as that's required before you get into housing. You have to apply to here. And then if you have questions about anything for accommodations or accessibility for any learning services, it's good if you've got your application in and all your details, and our academic advisors and financial advisors can then support you further once you've got a student ID. So all the details are on here, this website, Education Planner BC. You go to submit in your personal details, create a profile, find North Island College, find our program, and note it will be the Comox Valley, and it just starts in the fall only. If you're doing upgrading, you can do university or adult basic education before if you need to for this next winter term. That's possible, but this main program starts for this time for fall. This is our details for our festival for NIC Fest. Campbell River, Comox Valley will be March 19th. It's just going to be a nice day with lots of activities happening on our campus. Otherwise, if you can't come that day, let us know. The details here, this is for myself, Sarah Byrne. Email is futurestudents@nic.bc.ca. I do campus tours. I can help with any questions you have for the application process. If you have any after here, you can take note of this email and I'll be happy to support you further before you get into the program. These are my colleagues. So Sarah, Graham, and Leela. Leela helps especially with dual credit, working with the high school counselors. So yes, if you are in high school already, grade 11 or grade 12, there could be an opportunity for next semester or in your grade 12 year to take some of our university classes to save some money and time talking to your counselor. And then Leila will help with more supports of the courses here on our campus. And they are based out of Campbell River as well if you're having supports you're needing out of Campbell River. Next, I'm going to show the details here for Alex and Dennis. I don't know if you want to speak anything more as we conclude.
Really, I can hear myself again, I think. Is this better? Yeah, anyway, it's just my email. Any questions later, please feel free to email Dennis or me as well, and we're happy to support you guys along the way.
Yeah, so here's the phone number and email for Alex and for Dennis. Alex is for the chair and also Dennis, instructor for the program. This concludes to the end of our information session. I do thank you for remaining here for the full duration of our session. We will just remain for some time to answer any questions. If you don't have any more questions, we wish you a good evening and want to help you support with any further questions you might have privately, you can let us know. I think Dennis wanted to say some words.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have one of our current students is here to answer questions as well. Fallon, are you still here?
Has to say, Fallon is here to answer any of those questions as well. Okay, I'm just seeing a question. I'll just read it out loud. Any idea when UVic might get back to dual admission applicants? So actually today we had a UVic recruiter come to the campus. This is where they meet with students who either they had applied for the dual admission program or they have wanting to do or just applied for an engineering certificate and they're wanting to transfer. So then they support them with the next steps. The timeline of UVic, that is dependent upon UVic. We work closely in partnership with UVic, so we support for details to be shared. And if you are a dual admission applicant, I would say it's also difficult to answer your specific question right now, as there can be different circumstances. If you just submitted your application right now, or if you have submitted your application before and you're wanting to transfer, so the timing, there is some specific cases. The best thing about transferring is always to talk to our academic advisors. So for the application process that I mentioned for dual admission to UVic, it's specific if you know you want to go to UVic, and it's also must be done in your grade 12 year, and you must fill out this PDF application and submit it to our admissions team, and then paying for that. Then for this process, yes, if you have any other questions about after it, we review, we accept for you, and then when it's time to come, then UVic will be supporting for the start date of when you start their program. So say right now you've applied with our applications for UVic Dual Admission due before the end of January. Our team reviews for the fall 2026 applications right now, and then we will let you know when you've met the requirements. Our admissions team is reviewing for your acceptance. And then when it comes time, you've talked to our academic advisors, you're ready to move forward, then they will discuss about a plan to share your details over, because some people do this program in 1 year, but some people plan to do it in 2 years. So it's always good to discuss with our advisors when you're planning to transfer, so that UVic is ready to receive you for their first year. Okay. All I can say to that question, are there any other questions related to NIC or related to the engineering program, where you've got us here? Will we email out the presentation? Yes. By the fact that you've registered for this, you will get the details. And I mentioned about our social media, as we will be sharing some clips from there. But this being recorded, you will get the presentation from that. If you needed the PDF of that, you can let me know via email, and I can also email you the PDF, with my email being thefuturestudents@nic.bc.ca. It's a question of, do most people choose to take the program in 1 year or 2? Wonder if Alex or Dennis, you want to talk about. Maybe Alex, you were talking
It's
more
about 50%.
Yeah.
There's probably more than 50% that start with the intention of completing in 1 year. But some of those are forced to change their mind, though. And a lot of them are planning to do it in 2 years.
Yeah, it can be quite intense to take all those courses in 1 year, and for financing reasons of being a part-time student and having another job or other life circumstances on the other side, it can ease it off by breaking it up into 2 years. And that all those questions about what's best for you is something to think about, and then have just emphasizing as soon as after you're accepted or after you've applied, to just make that appointment with our academic advisors, who can best plan the courses and your next steps and goals with you. Okay, we'll just give it 1 more minute if there are other questions. If you don't have any other questions, feel free to sign off. And also note if they are questions for our current student, as Dennis has mentioned. We do have a student who is in the program right now to join. I wonder, maybe I'll just speak for it. Fallon, if you're able to type, why should people pick NIC and study engineering? Maybe is that too much? I don't know if you can unmute yourself if it's too much to write, but yeah, Fallon, if you can add a bit more, that would be appreciated. Why should people take engineering? Why should they do it at NIC? Fallon able to unmute? Okay, I'm just having technical things, but I think I'm letting Fallon in to speak.
I don't know if it's currently coming through.
I think we're having. Hello? Yes, I think we're having some technical issues to have Fallon come in to speak. So I think this may, no worries. Sorry, Fallon. But thank you for joining. I think many people are just signing off right now. So this may be the end of the presentation. I do thank you all for joining, and I hope you do have a good evening. If you do have other questions, Fallon is here over the chat to answer anything if you have questions about to a current student. But seeing as there's no more questions, I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to end this session. Alex and Dennis, I thank you for joining. If there's anything else you have to share, are you all good?
I think Fallon was typing.
Okay, thank you, Fallon. So I'll read out for Fallon. So in answering the question that I had posed about why take engineering and why come to NIC, Fallon has shared that the transfer scholarships are available once you finish your foundation program, and they are rarely taken. If you transfer, you are eligible. So BC Scholarship Society is here. It's very interesting that you share this, Fallon, because I actually have sat on the adjudicating committee for this particular scholarship. So I can speak to what we look for in the adjudicating committee for transfer students. And yes, this is through the BC Scholarship Society that helps for a number of different scholarships. In my previous role, I helped students study abroad. I had a few students go to other countries, and that helped through this company for scholarships to do that trips. We're particularly through this for students transferring like NIC to UVic or to UBC or SFU, or Camosun to UVic or KPU to SFU. So it's very normal, students taking courses and transferring them over, having them help for that. Biggest thing is just being honest. People can tell if AI has written your scholarship application, and then just knowing about community involvement. They'll be looking to see about volunteer organizations being involved, supporting with community, especially if you've helped with an organization for a longer period of time, that someone can write a reference for you. That's my biggest tip for, and it's always great to put yourself out there by applying to more scholarships and knowing that not only can you get accepted for scholarships when you get to like our foundation scholarships that we have. Vic has scholarships for entrance and while you're a student there, but there's ones like this for just transferring out, giving you more opportunities for funding. And like Dennis said at the beginning, eligibility for coming out with less debt in going into this program. Dennis has also shared another transfer scholarship opportunity. So there are lots available, lots of options our financial aid advisors can help more specifically with when they come for deadlines and application process. Just big tip is just on getting involved in your community and helping for getting a reference and volunteer. That helps for these ones specifically too. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Fallon, for sharing that insider tip as a student, and all the best with your learning journey as well. Perfect. I think we've come to the end. That's all the information. We've got the tips from Alex, myself, Dennis, and from Fallon. So now I will be closing this information session. So thank you, Jackson. Thank you to everyone, and have a good evening. Bye.